For the last few weeks, with the Wednesday recordings or the Thursday posts, I've been going through the book of Colossians, either a portion of the passage or a verse or a statement that is found within that book. And today I want to look at two statements that we find in Colossians chapter 1, verse 17. They're statements that speak of who Jesus is. And the first statement is, He is before all things. And the second statement says, in Him all things hold together. Now that idea that He is before all things, if you look back to the post that I wrote last week, I didn't do a video last week, just wrote a post last Thursday. If you look back at that post, it speaks to the fact that all things were created in Christ, through Christ, and for Christ. Everything in all of creation is created for Him, for His pleasure, for His purpose. And it shows that Jesus is part of the Godhead. God created all things, but He, Jesus, was part of that creation story, that creation act. And so He's part of the Godhead, Father, Son, and Spirit. And because of that idea, that truth, we know that He was before all things were created. And that's one of those, to me, it's one of those mind-boggling things. It's that our God is greater than we can even think or imagine. You know, I can imagine, and I don't know if you're like me or not, I can imagine, or I can see that God will always be. He will always be. He will always exist. He is eternal. He will always continue on. But the idea that He has always been. With God, there was no beginning. He just is God. Because for us, in all things, whether human, animal, plant life, there's a beginning and there's an end. And so, for us to fathom the idea that He has always been, that's tough to wrap our minds around. And that's where that faith comes in, that He is before all things. He has always been. God, the Father, Jesus, the Son, and God, the Spirit. They have always been. He has always been. He has no beginning. So He is before all things, and then in Him all things hold together. Again, if you look back at last week's post, I'm especially amazed at thinking about the planet on which we live. The earth on which we live. You know, if you look at last week, I talked about how the circumference of the earth is about 24,000 miles. So to rotate, have a single rotation in a day means we are spinning at about 1,000 miles per hour. And then if you look at our orbit around the sun, to complete our orbit around the sun in 365 days, the Earth is traveling through space at over 66,000 miles per hour. And yet, even though we're spinning that fast and we are traveling through space that fast, we live, we move, we have our being, and give no thought to the fact of what is going on around us on this planet and in space. You know, I would think, if spinning that fast and traveling that fast, we should be flying off of this planet because of just the speed that we are traveling in. And yet the gravitational pull is just perfect that we can live and move and do life and not even give a second thought to the fact of what's going on beyond our atmosphere. But beyond that, the design of the earth, the fact that the earth is tilting on its axis back and forth to give us the 4 seasons of the year. And to know that how consistent that is, that on around June 20th, we are reaching the longest day of the year and it starts tilting back. And on December 20th, it's the shortest day of the year, and it starts tilting back for us in this where we live. And just the design of that, or even the moon is orbiting the earth. And as it orbits the earth, we're able to determine time by that. It gives light to the night, but with the new moon and the full moon and the waxing and the waning of the moon, and that consistency that they can determine times and seasons based off of the moon's orbit. How God is holding all things together, his created order, and giving it that order that we see each and every day. Science may have its theories of the things of the earth, but we have to understand it is God, the Godhead, Father, Son, and Spirit, that hold things together and maintains the order in all creation. But it takes faith. We want to see the tangible things. We want to see the science data and the reports. But it takes faith to trust that we serve a God that has always been. He is before the beginning, before all creation, and that he is holding everything together. So my encouragement to you today is take some time. Look at the created order around you. What are the things that amaze you and astound you? And how do they point to the Creator that we serve? God bless you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.